Hello, fellow nerds! Welcome back to Little Shop of Nerds. Welcome back, your host with the most, Mike.
And Julia.
All right, today's topic on our last, we were talking about Chicago, but we give the hint at the end of the podcast. And what was the last week hint, Jules?
It was Merlin Trials.
And if you don't know what that means, well, here's the answer. Today we're going to talk about our favorite video game, Hogwarts Legacy.
Now, there are going to be some spoilers, so if you haven't beaten the game yet, at least beat the game first and then come back and listen to our podcast.
Yes, so.
Or unless you're not planning on playing the game, and then go ahead and listen.
And before you say anything else, right now, we're keeping anything that J.K. Rowling said from the public. We are not going to be talking about that. We're just going to focus on the game before you call us or hate us what we're going to talk about. Just remember, we're just talking about a video game, not on J.K. Rowling's opinion.
So the one thing I want to touch on about this game is the Sebastian storyline. So Sebastian, if y'all have played the game and have completed his storyline, know that his sister Anne is sick. She's been cursed. There's no way for them to break the curse, or they've pretty much given up, except for Sebastian. Sebastian still thinks that there is a way to cure her, but everybody else has given up because they can't find any type of cure for her. And it's actually, I think, the darkest storyline in that whole game.
That's pretty much so. It was like mostly the darkest story. Most of the dark stuff was focused on Sebastian. The other half was mostly focused on
poachers, basically.
Poachers. What's the troll's goblin's name?
Ranrock.
Ranrock, and pretty much that's just it.
Yeah, Rookwood and Ranrock, the poachers, the Ashwinders. And then you've got Sebastian over here, who he is a Slytherin, and he does decide that he thinks that the dark arts, or he starts studying the dark arts because Anne was cursed with some dark magic, and he thinks that if he studies the dark arts, that he can find a cure for her that way, and he was sorely mistaken on that. He does get into a disagreement with his uncle, and the disagreement does end up with him getting ostracized by his sister. I'm not going to say what happened. Just that Anne kind of doesn't want to forgive Sebastian for what he did. I understand why he did it, but it doesn't make it right, and he does seem to regret it after he had time to cool down. I mean that it really broke my heart. Sebastian is my favorite character from the game. So, Mike knows all about that. I was disappointed in the lack of romance options, but I digress.
I'm still worried about that.
It was that his whole storyline was just focused basically on the dark arts. So then you got Natty, who came from Uganda, from Ouagadougou?
I think it's Ouagadougou.
Ouagadougou, which is the Ugandan School of Magic. And she was trying to get away from... Was it the men who killed her father?
The men who killed her father, because she really thought it was her fault because her father was trying to protect her.
Yeah, and so she wanted to get back at Harlow because he kind of reminded her of the men that killed her father. And I think they were trying to kidnap her when she was in Uganda because she can transform into
A gazelle.
a gazelle. And I think they were trying to kidnap her for that, if I remember correctly. And then you have Poppy, who is definitely trying to fight against the poachers, because she came from a poaching family. And I mean, that you get to save a dragon with her storyline. You get to save the Snidgets.
Oh yeah, those were fun.
Yeah, and so their storylines weren't as dark as Sebastian's.
Then you got Ominous.
Ominous. He was against Sebastian learning the dark arts. He wanted nothing to do with it, but Sebastian kind of used some manipulation to get him to agree to help you find Slytherin's scriptorium. And then there was like another scene where you learn Imperius. And I guess, from what I've seen, I haven't done it personally, and I probably won't, but you can use Imperius on Ominous to get him to agree to help you out. And I think that's a really fucked up thing to do, considering that Ominous is supposed to be Sebastian's best friend, and you're basically using dark magic on him.
Yeah, and there's also a reason why Ominous did not want no one to learn dark magic. Didn't even want to learn the curses because of his family line.
Yeah, so Ominous's last name is Gaunt, and if you're not familiar with that name, that is the name of Voldemort's ancestors. They are direct descendants of Slytherin. And Ominous seemed to turn out to be one of the more normal members of the group, of the family, I want to say. Considering that he doesn't want to use dark magic, and the Gaunts are pretty well known for using dark magic throughout the series. We will be touching on Harry Potter later on this month, and I will bring up the Gaunts again in that episode. But yeah, he was forced to use dark magic, the Cruciatus Curse, and he didn't want to, but he was forced to. So he's just like, I don't want anything to do with dark magic. But there was nothing that he could really do.
And I think the only person in his family who was ever maybe kind to him was his aunt. And that's when you're trying to find Salazar Slytherin's
Salazar Slytherin
Scriptorium is by pretty much what you do is you have to do these puzzle, like kind of like a maze puzzle that Slytherin left, and it has a time limit. You gotta match the pictures, and if you don't do it in time, the snake statue will bite you.
Yeah, there's gates with like a little pictograph type thing on it, and you have to match those symbols to the snakes, and if you don't do it within the time limit, it bites you. So then once you finally get through all of that, and you get into the little room, you have to have at least two people, like, there has to be at least two people, because one person has to cast the Cruciatus Curse on the other one to open the door. So Sebastian's like, hey, can you ask Ominous if he'll do it? So you go and ask Ominous, and Ominous is like, no, I'm not doing that. So then it's up to you and Sebastian, and Sebastian gives you three options. He can cast it on you, and you do not learn the curse. He casts it on you, but you do learn the curse, or you cast it on him. I have done 2 playthroughs of that so far. One as a Gryffindor and one as a Slytherin. And the Gryffindor one, I learned the curse, but he casted it on me. And then the other one was as a Slytherin, and I learned the curse and casted it on him. I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, and I pretty much I'm still trying to play it for the second time. I pretty much let Sebastian shocked me, and I still learn the curse. And I know some people say there is options that you can learn the curses, and pretty much there's the three of the curse, the Cruciato, the one.
Cruciatus Curse, Avada Kedavra, and Imperious. And you can learn, if you don't learn them from him when he goes to teach you, you can learn them later down in the Undercroft.
Yep.
Because that's what I did with Avada Kedavra. I hadn't learned it from him yet. And I learned it from him in the Undercroft.
And one thing about Avada
Kedavra.
Yeah, like she said, please forgive me what I'm saying. I'm not good at pronunciation. But anyways, like I said, when I learned that spell, I pretty much used that spell on trolls. Because those guys are effing hard to take down.
Yeah, trolls suck.
And besides that, if you learn that spell, you need to know it's OP, and it takes a long time to recharge.
Yeah, but it doesn't kill the trolls automatically, though, like it does on some...
Yeah, some format.
Some enemies. Some enemies, it kills them automatically.
Yeah.
Others, it's just kind of like with trolls, it like takes half their health.
Yeah, it depends on the thing.
And so I have completed 100% of the game. I have gotten all the trophies. I play on PlayStation. I have gotten all the trophies. All of them I got during my first playthrough as a Gryffindor. So then all I had to do was just find the map chamber as a Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff. And I have now done that. So let's talk about the house-specific quests, where you have to find Jackdaw's remains to get the pages of the book that were missing. So, Gryffindor, you end up joining in with the Headless Hunt. Or you go to the Headless Hunt to talk to Jackdaw, because Jackdaw was beheaded. And so you go to talk to Jackdaw, and you have to find his head and some pumpkins. Okay, that was okay. It was kind of fun. Not too dark or anything. Then you had Slytherin's quest, where you had to take Toast to the giant squid, and it was a giant squid mural. I honestly thought that the Slytherin quest was very underwhelming.
I agree.
I expected it to be more than what it was, and I'm just kind of like, oh. And then Ravenclaw is Ollivander contacts you, and he's like, hey, I had a wand stolen from me. It's nothing special. It's just basically sentimental value. It's no different than any of the other ones that he sells. And you have to track it down. And then Hufflepuff, you go to Azkaban. And that quest I was most looking forward to, but I was also disappointed with how underwhelming it was.
Mm-hmm. I could see that, because there are some parts in the game that kind of underwhelm me, because like when you get to the staircases, they do move, but not.
Well, I mean, I can understand why they made them move the way that they did, though.
Yeah, because of time restrictions, and also be hard to digital all that movement they have to do.
Yeah, so I can understand that. There were a few things, though, that I remember seeing. I can't remember what they are right now off the top of my head, but it doesn't really follow Harry Potter lore. Like, there were some things that were different, and I'm just kind of like, that's not in the books. That's not how it is. And I cannot remember off the top of my head what they were at this point. But yeah, there were some things that I was. I enjoyed it overall. After I got the game, I got it back in April when I got my PS5, and I literally that's all I played for like a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I did go through and I did find all the Merlin trials. I found all the collections. I opened up all of... There's one field guide page in my Gryffindor playthrough that I never found. But that didn't really much matter because all I needed were the Revelio pages to complete out my collection. But I found all the collection chests, all the brooms, all the wand handles, all the clothes, all the enemies, all the plants, all the potions. I did everything in my first playthrough. And I'm playing now, and, as a Slytherin, and I'm trying not to do as much as I did, but that's not gonna work out as well as I was hoping it would.
Yeah. I do know, if you, I know there's a lot of parts in the game, like, there's a part you do fly on a broom, but here's the thing, there's no Quidditch, which I think sucks, by the way.
Yeah, there's no Quidditch, but they are coming out with a Quidditch game.
Oh.
Quidditch World Cup or something like that.
If they are, I'm buying that game.
Well, they are, because I've seen emails and stuff about it.
Well, whenever it comes, I'm getting it. But besides that, you do have to upgrade your broom like a normal video game. You have to upgrade. You have to level up pretty much for the levels. But one thing, when you're upgrading your broom, it will cost a lot of galleons to upgrade. And if you want to get easy galleons, this is what I did. After you do your beast class, you get your room of acquirement. Deke will give you this magic bag. Will let you.
It's called the knapsack or knapsack. Yeah.
And pretty much what it does is, what I did is I went around finding puffskins.
Puffskins.
Yep, I captured puffskins, and I sell them to a little shop that you can give them permanent homes, help them, and they will trade you money. But here's the thing. Whatever beast you capture, they only going to give you 120 galleons.
Yeah, no matter what beast you catch, it's always just 120. So you can go out there and catch a unicorn, go and sell a unicorn. She's like, oh, I'll give you 120 for it. And I'm just kind of like, this unicorn was hard to catch, and you're going to give me only 120 galleons for it. I think I deserve a little bit more.
And this is what I did, because this is when you get a beast trophy and stuff, is where I pretty much get captured to any type of animal, bring it back to my little zoo. So I captured unicorns, phoenix.
Like a vivarium or something like that.
Yeah, I pretty much, and after I got the animals I need to breed, I just went to go capture puffskins to get some money. And besides that, like I said, you do have to upgrade your broom. And when you do, you have to challenge this girl from Slytherin.
Her name's Imelda.
A little pain in the ass.
She really is.
And what you do is, it's on a time. You're on a fast time.
Yeah, you have to beat her time to pass the quest.
And the only way you have your boost, but there's times you have to go through these bubbles to give you extra speed. And those are a pain in the ass.
Yeah, because they make it so fast that sometimes it's hard to control your broom.
And you miss the rings that you're supposed to fly through. And if you miss the rings, they take 3 seconds off your time.
Yeah, like there was one time I did, and it was I would have beaten her time, but then they added it was 9 seconds I think that I missed, and they added it to my time, and I ended up losing. Okay, but yeah, it was there are some parts that were really, with the flying mechanics were really janky, I thought.
It was, and here's one thing, because when you're trying to find these map chambers or anything, for your, pretty much the, the guys who's, what was it? You have to talk to the pains, and you had to go to to
Oh
these
yes.
chambers.
So there was a painting that came up missing from the Three Broomsticks. He also has a painting up in the library. And he gets kidnapped basically because one of the students is like, oh, he's been snitching on me. So she paid, I think it was the Ashwinders, to kidnap his painting from the Three Broomsticks. And then you have to go after the painting. Um, and I guess there are three options. One's to burn it, one's to take it to the Hogshead, and the other one is to return it to its rightful place at the Three Broomsticks. In my playthrough, I did return the painting to the Three Broomsticks.
I burned mine in my playthrough.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he was being a dick and being ungrateful and being annoying. And I'm like, screw this.
He was being ungrateful and annoying and all that.
I'm like, screw this.
Kind of sounds a little bit like you.
Hey, I'm passionate.
Okay, whatever. So, yeah, so you got those options.
Yeah.
There are a lot of side quests too.
Yeah.
It was crazy how many side quests there were, and I was a little disappointed with the map because you did get this huge map, but you could only unlock just a few places on it. So, like, I understand that, they couldn't have probably filled out the whole entire map.
No.
But then they shouldn't have given us such a big map either. Because it did look like that there were some places that we could have went to but couldn't because of, the video game barrier.
Yep. Especially on a broom.
Yeah.
And there's also a main quest that you do. You pretty much play through the Deathly Hallows story.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was a really cool concept because it was all kind of like it was almost like it was drawn, and you got to use all three of the Deathly Hallows. It was for one of the Keeper trials. Which if you don't know what the Keepers are, they are, you got some ancient magic that only you can see, and they are keepers of that magic. And Sebastian refers to them as non-Quidditch keepers, because if you think of a keeper, you think of Quidditch. So he's just like, so these non-Quidditch keepers, and you're just like, yeah.
Yeah, and very much. And one thing I like about that level of the Deathly Hallows, you mentioned how we have to use them. You do use the wand, which was pretty much OP, but you only played it for a little bit. Same thing with the Visibility Cloak. But when you get to the Resurrection Stone, you don't use it at all,
No, didn't you use it to bring back the professor? The headmistress?
Yeah, she did, but your character doesn't. That's when she was giving him a warning about using that stone.
Well, I mean, there is a whole theory behind... Well, I mean, the theory behind that stone is, you don't... When you bring somebody back with it, that person doesn't belong to this world. And it will eventually drag you down to... to the point where you will unalive yourself. That's the purpose of that stone, which I will touch on when we do our Harry Potter episode.
Yep. And so far, what you do is after you do your main quest, everything else, you do the last boss level, which is
you fight against Ranrock,
and he turns into a dragon from all the curses that been bottled up or stored for years. And I had to say that was the hardest one to do. And I do know this, and here's a little tip. If you see the final boss or any boss fighters you have to do, if they hold up like a certain color glowing ball, you have to use that color to deflect it.
Yeah, so if you see purple, use a spell that's purple. If you see yellow, use a spell that's yellow. So normally it would be like, for purple, like, Flipendo, Depulso, Accio, there's another one I can't remember. And then yellow is like Leviosa, Arresto Momento, and red was Expelliarmus, Incendio, Bombarda, Cafringo. I don't think you used green. I don't think they had green balls.
No, that's also another thing. Pretty much through that, when you're fighting a boss, you can't use none of your curses.
Yeah, they nerfed that.
And you can't blame them because that would be too easy.
Yeah. Or, I mean, they could have just had it to where maybe it just did some damage, but not like an insta-kill.
Well, either way, besides that, that's pretty much what happens. Like I said,
Yeah, we didn't touch too much on the storyline just because I basically just wanted to talk about like some of the side quests and stuff like that.
So, yeah, I agree. And there is one side quest that you can get your own store.
But it's only for the PlayStation versions at this time.
Yep, and what you do is you have to go, you buy a store from this old lady. Turns out there's a ghost haunting it or a poltergeist, and you have to do these puzzles because the rooms keep changing. You have to challenge them, and there's a little room. Now hold on to your corn. Just hold on here. There's a little room little hall you have to go through, and you won't guess what it is. It has the giant chessboards for Western chess.
See, I don't remember that part.
Well, it's in there.
But I just don't remember doing the chessboard. Like, I know there are a couple of treasure vaults that you can go into where they have chess pieces and you have to put the chess pieces in the right place. You have to use transformation or transfiguration on like a pot or a chair or something, and it turns into a piece, and then you have to put it down somewhere, and then it gives you your chest. But I do not remember the wizard chessboard from the shop.
Well, it's like I said, doesn't do that much, but only thing you gotta do is try to find the right square to walk through, because if not, one of the pieces will hit you. It wasn't that great. That's like easily forgettable, but it's still in there, so I can't blame you not remembering that. So
I wonder if I can go back and like go back into the chest now that I own the shop.
Yep.
I don't know. I might have to check that out. I'll have to go back on my Gryffindor account or my Gryffindor playthrough and check that out later.
Yeah, and when you do get your shop, you get a house elf, and the option you can set her free. But once you try to set her free, she won't go. She just wants to stay.
Okay, so that I didn't know. See, I was a little disappointed with the shop, though, because I thought that I would be able to actually sell anything.
But you don't. That's another thing.
You can only sell your clothes.
And I think that was kind of like a rip-off right there.
A little bit, yeah, because I have so many Wiggenweld potions, and I do not need that many Wiggenweld potions, because, you know, I'm badass. So, yeah. I wanted to sell some of those, plus, like, sell some of, like, the potion ingredients that I had, because I didn't really make any potions either.
Well, I do know that, but all I know is, yeah, when you have your own shop, you don't get profits or anything, which I think sucks. It's like with Assassin's Creed, like if you update your town, your homestead, you get a profit off that easily. I just think that was a little disappointing, but here's also another little tip. When you do in the Merlin trials, you need Mellow Sweet to activate it. And here's the thing, you can't hardly find any of the Mellow Sweet.
You can buy it from vendors.
You can buy it from vendors, but here's the thing, they're not always going to have it.
Yeah, so make sure that you buy the seeds from the dude that sells you your seeds.
And you go to your
room of requirement,
get a pot, and that will help you. The first time I did not know that. I didn't know I had to do that. So on the second try, I pretty much bought the pot.
I mean, like I said, I got everything in my first playthrough. I caught on pretty quickly that I needed to grow mellow sweet if I was going to do the Merlin trials.
Yeah.
And I did all of the Merlin trials. And let me tell you, that was like a quest all on its own.
Pretty much it's pretty much a challenging thing to do because it's like nothing but puzzles pretty much.
My favorite puzzles were the ones where you blow up like the orbs, and then the one where you have to jump on the blocks without falling off.
Yeah. I do know this here. Also, if you want to level up quick, do your side quests, side missions, like you normally do. What I did, there are battle arenas. You fight with the Ashwinders, the creatures of the forest,
Trolls.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It kind of helps. It kind of helps you get you some points to level up, but not completely. Like say they'll give you like 50 points for the first round, so on, so on.
Yeah. Well, from what I've read, because I was trying to find out how to get to level 40, which Sebastian, after I finished Sebastian's quest at the end, it pushed me up to level 40. Level 40 is the cap. But I read that once you hit level 40, not level 40, when you complete everything in the collection guide in your book, you don't get any more points for defeating those enemies.
Yeah, that sucks.
So, basically you have to rely on like Merlin trials and, stuff like that, the main quests and stuff like that in order to get your points, field guides, that type of, or not field guides, but the Revelio pages and stuff like that to get your experience.
Yep. And if you want to know about the battle arenas, go to these little abandoned tour buildings and hit the clay pots. After you take down 20 clay pots, a statue will open its arms and they'll teleport you to a battle arena.
Now, in base game, there are only 2 battle arenas. But you can buy the Dark Arts DLC, and you will get a third one, and that's the Dark Arts Battle Arena. And I think you only have to destroy 10 bases to get into that one.
Yeah.
But that one's only available if you get the Dark Arts DLC, which I have not done yet. I do plan on getting it, though. Yep. Because you also get like cosmetic items, and then you also get a Thrussel as a mount. Because you can have animals, or not animals, but beasts, hippogriff and a graphorn as your mount. And then this just adds Thrussel for you to also have as a mount.
And yeah, that's pretty much it right there in a nutshell. And I would say I give this game, I want to say 10 out of 10, but but there's some stuff I thought was kind of lacking, disappointing. I would have to give it an 8 out of 10, which is not bad.
I give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Right.
Just because I'm such a huge Harry Potter fan, and being able to go to Hogwarts and see Hogwarts, like I'm not gonna lie, I almost cried the first time I saw Hogwarts, because I was like, oh my god, I actually get to go to Hogwarts, even if it was through a game. But I got to go, and I was very, I'm happy with the game. There are some things that could be changed. They did change some lore that didn't quite go with canon for the Harry Potter series. But other than that, I was really happy. Yeah. I was really happy with it. I absolutely adore it. Yeah. But I gave it a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, that's cool. No, there's one thing I did like about the game is the robes they give you.
The robes were pretty cool.
What you do is you gotta find 16 keys or.
The Daedalian keys. You have to find the Daedalian keys, follow them to a cabinet, unlock it at the right time, and you get like a house token.
And it gives you, and you take all these house tokens, and it unlocks your house chest and it gives you a robe. And I have to say the robes were slick. Like the one with Gryffindor, it was like red with a golden line on the back. Even had like a fur around the collar.
Yeah, I haven't. I found it for Slytherin and Gryffindor, and I was working on it in Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff, but I will probably finish my Slytherin playthrough before I go back and do my Hufflepuff and my Ravenclaw playthroughs. I hate doing games like halfway through and then not finishing them.
Right.
So I only started the other two playthroughs just so I knew how specific quests were to find Jackdaw's tomb. Because you have to find his page. You have to find the pages to the book that you found when you were on your rendezvous with Sebastian. Late night trip to the restricted section with Sebastian.
I kind of worry about you because you are factuating.
Infatuated. I really like Sebastian. Sebastian was my favorite character. Okay, his storyline was by far the most interesting. And I see him as kind of like a tragic anti-hero, I guess. In a way. I just wish they had given us an option to like try to talk him away from the dark arts.
You don't want to admit that you have a bad boy complex, do you?
I mean, I do have a thing for Sebastian from Stardew Valley.
Okay.
He's kind of a bad boy. He's like an emo bad boy.
Well.
I really like that too.
Alright, so, yep, alright.
I guess that's it. That's where we're going to end it here.
And our next week of our hint is my spidey sense tingling.
Okay, guys. We will talk to you later. Bye.
See ya.